Hello positive people, it's Fiona here. I'm a body whisperer and a body renewer, and this glorious weekend I spent so many hours in the garden. It gives me such great pleasure to be planting out my flowers and my seeds. I mean, spring is here, so getting all the colours in my garden, and nothing makes me happier than just sort of sitting out there and just looking at this jungle of flowers and all the seeds that I've collected from last year and all the seeds I'm planting from the ones that I've bought, and I've got little seedlings of courgettes, and I'm putting in butternut and chilies and tomatoes and all those kind of things. This is the time of year when we need to do all our seeds and putting in all our flowers and things for the rest of the summer. But what I was doing is an awful lot of kind of like digging work and digging over the ground and preparing the ground so that these little seeds and these little plants can actually do their very, very best. Just like the plants in the garden, we, ladies, gentlemen, we need to prepare the ground so that we thrive. And sometimes we need to do a little bit if we haven't done a lot of weeding recently, or sometimes we just need to sort of just keep on top of it and just do some weeding. I don't know what kind of gardener or what kind of person you are, but do you just kind of go, oh my God, I can't cope? And you need to go and you need to dig out all those deep-seated weeds that have kind of got in there and they've started to make a kind of an impression on you. And I'm going to go into some of those things, the factors that affect you the most. I'm Fiona Robertson. I'm a body whisperer and a body renewer. I'm here to help you understand how you create your body and spread the hope that your genes are not your destiny, and the fact that your genes cause only 10% of the disease and what goes on in your body, and to help you understand that we're not fixed, we're not final, and your body is not harming you or hurting you or pissing you off on purpose. Most of us, myself included, didn't consider my body as I was growing up. It was just there. My body was just, it was kind of working, it was doing well, it was fine. Didn't really have to think a great deal about it. I was active and all the rest of it, and it's not until certain things started to sort of go on in the background, things going on, stories I was telling, getting upset about this, that and the other, that I understood that my body wasn't actually that sort of infallible. I wasn't that kind of invincible. Things do happen, and that's why I've become a body whisperer, to understand what the things are that go on in the body, to help us understand that it's our soul, it's our body sort of crying out like, hey, come on a minute, you know, we need to be able to do other little things. We need to be able to put other missing nutrients in, life nutrients, not always just to do with the vitamins and minerals, to do with food and exercise. Our body does not just create itself through the food we eat. It's the air that we breathe. It's the beliefs we have. It's the thoughts we have, the feelings we have. What other kind of things? The amount of attention that we pay her. Beliefs, thoughts, emotions, the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, the nutrients, not just sort of vitamins and minerals, but sort of the life nutrients. I mean, me digging my garden, that's a nutrient for me. That's kind of a must. I remember somebody years ago saying, my God, why are you looking to move into a house, and with you and your boys? Why don't you find an apartment, rent somewhere? I'm just going, oh my heavens above, no. I need to have my hands in the earth. I mean, I don't really have very good nails because I'm in the earth. I love it. I'm kind of digging and moving things around and planting seeds and watch them come up. The garden is something that really makes me feel like I'm thriving. But the same as we make a little place for our seeds to thrive, we need to be able to thrive too. And this is what I'm talking about today, is a little bit of weeding. So if you never question your beliefs or your chemical makeup or your ancestral patterns or some of the soul contracts that you've got on, some of the promises that you made to yourself when you were a lot younger about, God, I wish wish that I had bigger breasts, I wish I had longer legs, I wish I was thinner, slimmer, fatter, curly hair. What kind of promises did you ask yourself? What did you want to create with your body when you were younger? These are all kind of things that sort of sooner or later they can really come out in you physically. Also believing that your patterns, what was handed down to you generationally, health wise, if you believe that all the women in my family get breast cancer, or all, a huge proportion of our family get, bowel problems, or a huge proportion of our family get arthritis. What if you could actually change those things around? What if you could get rid of those beliefs, because they are causing, like DNA, they're in your cells. It's actually what makes you up. It is possible to change those things around, to become a more vibrant being. Those things are possible. I've seen them. I've seen huge physical releases in a body when somebody changes their perception or undoes a belief that so that doesn't have to be the way it is. No, those are kind of the things that we keep ourselves going, or keep ourselves connected with our family. A lot of those soul contracts can be changed. So, changing your beliefs, you can change your chemical makeup, you can change your ancestral patterns. Also, the way you handle stress is a big one. The amount of chemicals, the chemical soup that goes round in our body. Have you ever wondered why, this person deals with stress in such a dramatic way? Everything is a disaster. Oh my God, this is a disaster. Oh my God, this is just terrible. Whereas other people just seem to sort of glide through and just like, oh, well, there's a hiccup, I'll deal with it. Maybe something good will come out of it. They seem to have a silver lining, and they don't really get the full dramatical effect, the full chemical whereabouts, and the protection that your body seems to need when you go through those kind of things. The way we handle our relationships is also another great way of how our body, seeing how our body handles itself and how it makes us, how it builds us, like any plant, depending where it's placed, depending what it's next to. And if we haven't done any weeding just recently, if we haven't taken out some of the weeds that are going to stifle it and choke it. I mean, these are what your emotions are doing. These are what the stories are doing. They're choking you, they're stifling you, they're crushing you, they're taking up your space. And if you want to grow, and if you want to become a woman in the next phase of your life, some weeding needs to be done. And oftentimes when I'm meeting ladies, we are stifled, we're stuck. And when I feel into their bodies as a body whisperer, there's not a lot of air going around the body. There's not a lot of movement. There's not a lot of broader thinking. We're really limiting ourselves. So if we can breathe a little bit deeper and really expand and understand all our huge potential, that makes a big shift on how our bodies can actually move. It's really bad luck and quite a shame that if you haven't weeded out, and if you haven't changed your patterns of eating, and if you haven't changed the fuel that your family's taught you was the fuel, and if we haven't changed the nutrients and the life vitamins and looking at things in a different way, we will repeat the same story. I saw it myself with I had a physical body very, very similar to my mother's for a while, and I was like, what's going on here? And I realized a lot of the stories I was telling, a lot of the things that I was doing were very similar. And I was like, okay, so what is that belief? Do I believe it? And I had to do a little bit of digging to understand all that. But like any good gardener knows when a weed will actually come straight out of the earth, it's intact, its whole root. You get down to the root cause, you get down to the root of what is causing the problem, this weed to grow and stifle you. A good gardener knows at what phase of the moon, when the moon is turning, when is the best time to pull that weed out. If you try and pull that weed out when you're not ready, if you try and pull that weed out, it'll snap and it'll just keep growing back up. My job is to try and find out the best time for you when we can pull that weed out. There's no force. I'm guided by my soul, and we're talking soul to soul to help understand the best time for you, when that best time is, that we can pull that weed out, the one that's choking you and stifling you and hurting you, and you're so wrapped up in all that. So all your roots are entwined, but there is a time, there is a right time to pull that root out. If you don't know if you've ever done that, you just some days you just pull a weed out and you kind of go, oh my God, it's so beautiful, I've got all the root, everything is out, absolutely fantastic. and you can just let that go and let it go somewhere else. And this is what we're doing on a very energetic level. We're changing soul contracts. We're pulling out those weeds from the root cause. We're just bringing that, and afterwards you're like, I can breathe. I don't have that in me anymore. And the way you feel is so much lighter in the body, and the physical consequences for the day after or the next day after that is just amazing. What you see, what waste the body gets rid of, how the body reacts, and certain relationships or the ways that were bothering you in the past, you can kind of go, that doesn't bother me anymore. I don't have any, that doesn't have any effect on me anymore. That's when you know that you've taken the weed all the way out, down to the root, every single last thread of that root, so it will not be growing back up. Weeding, it's got to be talked about. Looking after your seeds is okay, preparing the ground, but then we also need to just have a look at them every now and again and just see what's going on here. I mean, I know that if something's affecting me or something's bothering me or I get upset, I'm like, oh, come on, there's something going on here for me to sort of just be aware of, take a different perspective and let that go. That's why I've come up for one of the main things that most people talk about is cravings. That's why I've come up with like a 7, ooh, that was 8, 7, but there's probably an 8 one. 8th, just do it. There's a technique that allows you to go through every single time a craving comes up. It just helps you sort of like, okay, well, where's the weed? Where is it? What is it? Let's just name it. Let's just find out what that weed is. Weed, it's a trigger. It's what's getting you, that's stifling you, that's making you go for that particular craving. What's the deeper meaning behind that craving? So ask me and tell me where you want me to send it, and I will send you the 7 steps that stop 80% of your cravings. And normally, if you keep doing this every time a craving comes up, you'll get to the bottom of it. I remember when I did it, I was just like, oh my God, really? That's what I need to be pulling out? That's what I need to find the right time when I can pull that weed out? And now I don't have that crazy craving for crisps anymore because I've pulled that weed out. Okay, that's what it's all about. Pulling weeds out. You can't let them grow and stifle you anymore. There is you, a perfect flower, the seedling, however you want to see yourself, in the prepared ground, in the flower bed that I've been digging over, and it's just looking so perfect and so beautiful. Watered it, the sun is shining today, and you're going to grow up with this beautiful flower in the next phase of your life. I love talking analogies of garden. I love my garden. So I'm Fiona Robertson, I'm the Body Whisperer, and inviting you to do some weeding. I'll see you again next week. Please don't forget to ask about the 7 steps to stopping cravings. Oh, that's like Peter Piper picked a pickled pepper. All right, I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.